At Healthcare Partners Medical Group, our mission is to provide the highest quality of healthcare to each and every patient. With 5 locations in Pahrump, we are local doctors you know and trust. We want to thank you for choosing us. Quality care starts here.
Welcome back. On November 30th, 36-year-old Marine veteran Paul Navarro was struck and killed on Linda Street. There is a memorial fund that has been set up in his name for his burial. If you would like to help the family, please donate to Paul Navarro Memorial Fund at Wells Fargo Bank. And here's your news across Nevada with Deanna O'Donnell.
Nevada's foreclosure rate remains second in the nation, even though activity dropped significantly year over year. Reality Track reports today that Nevada's November foreclosure rate is down 54% year over year and down 10% compared with October. 1 in every 390 properties in Nevada saw some sort of foreclosure filing last month. That rate was only behind Florida. Nevada's numbers are a magnified version of the national foreclosure picture for the month of November. Reality Track reports foreclosure filings nationwide were down 3% from October and down 19% year over year. The state's foreclosure rating has been down for the past year after a state law took effect last October requiring more paperwork for lenders to launch a foreclosure. Officials are reporting home prices increased in November in the Las Vegas area, continuing an upward trend. They announced Monday that the median price of a home sold in southern Nevada has stayed the same or gone up in 10 of the past 11 months. The area hasn't seen such steady home prices in several years. The median price of a single-family home sold in November was $146,000. That was up 4.3% from $140,000 in October and up 16.8% from 1 year ago. The association says almost 3,300 homes, condominiums, and townhomes were sold in November. That's down from more than 3,600 in October and almost 3,900 in November of 2011. Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval announced this week that he's opting into Medicaid expansion under the Federal Affordable Care Act. He's the first Republican leader in the country to do so. Under the Federal Affordable Care Act, 78,000 Nevadans who are considered low income or disadvantaged will qualify for coverage. Sandoval says today's challenges forced his decision to help Nevadans now. Nevada's health care indicators continually trail its neighboring states and regularly rank among the worst in the nation. Nevada has a higher than average rates such as things like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and asthma. Access is critical to both prevention and treatment of these diseases and conditions. Expanding the program will allow Nevada to improve its return on federal tax dollars and ensure that money is reinvested into Nevada's health care economy. A new study conducted by the U.S. Department of Education shows that the Silver State's high school graduation rates remains among the lowest in the nation. The agency released a 4-year graduation rates of 47 states, where Nevada posted a 62% graduation rate for the 2010-2011 school year. That number, however, was slightly better than the one of the nation's capital, which posted a 59% graduation rate. On a single night last January, 633,782 people were homeless in the United States, largely unchanged from the year before. Local homelessness housing and service providers in Nevada reported that the number of sheltered and unsheltered homeless people decreased by 6% between 2011 and 2012. 5 states accounted for nearly half of the nation's homeless population in 2012. California at 20.7%, New York at 11%, Florida at 8.7%, Texas at 5.4%, and Georgia at 3.2%. Homelessness in Nevada in 2012 was at 9,926 total. In 2011, it was 10,579. Chronically homeless in Nevada increased slightly in 2012. There are 1,996, and in 2011, there were 1,735. Homeless veterans numbers in 2012 were 1,419 compared to 1,430 in 2011. I'm Deanna O'Donnell. That's your news across Nevada.
On Friday, Nye County Sheriff's Office narcotics detectives served a search warrant at 1511 Princeton in reference to a marijuana growing operation.
A marijuana grow believed to be operated by Alan M. Kelly Pacone was previously discovered at this residence on 4/20 of 2012. Inside the residence on Friday, detectives discovered 79 marijuana plants in a very elaborate growing setup. Many of these plants were as tall as 4 feet tall and at the budding stage. Detectives also discovered numerous large items of processed and packaged marijuana Alan Pacone was arrested on scene. Kelly Pacone was not at home at the time. Charges against Kelly Pacone will be submitted to the district attorney's office. Alan Pacone admitted his knowledge and took responsibility for his role in this marijuana growing operation. 52-year-old Alan Edward Pacone was arrested for intent to sell, maintaining a residence for narcotics, conspiracy to violate the Unlawful Use of a Controlled Substance Act. 41-year-old Kelly Ann Pacone has not been taken into custody. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia. There is no cure for the disease, which worsens as it progresses and eventually leads to death. A local family have produced a video to show what they are going through as a result of this devastating disease in an effort to help others. There's a video that's online right now about the effects of Alzheimer's on a local family here. You may know the family. Tim Wambaker, who is the principal of Rosemary Clark Middle School, his wife's mother is suffering from Alzheimer's. The family put together a half-an-hour video, which has been getting a lot of attention lately. We're going to speak to Tony Wambaker.
From April until August, my 4 children and my husband and I worked on a video to bring education and awareness to light about Alzheimer's disease, because my mom has Alzheimer's disease and we're taking care of her.
Why did you guys decide to make it?
Because I felt like a lot of people didn't understand the disease and know what we were going through as a family, and just wanted to have people be aware and to give them facts so that if they were having complications or worried about the disease, they could get information.
How's your mom doing? When was she diagnosed?
She was diagnosed March 23rd of 2009, and so that was a couple years ago, and she's obviously it's a progressive disease. There's nothing you can do. No way you can cure it, no way to slow it, nothing to prevent it. So she's slowly gotten worse, and she's gone from being the mom I knew to being somebody completely different. She doesn't talk anymore unless she's really angry or if something really sparks her interest, I guess, then she will speak 1 or 2 words, but for the most part, she doesn't say anything. I have to help her with everything from brushing her teeth to getting, changes of clothes and going to the bathroom, eating. Everything has to be guided.
What's a petition that's being signed right now at Inspiration?
Through my video, there's a foundation called Us Against Alzheimer's, and they saw my video and they actually posted it on their Facebook page. And they're based in Washington, D.C. They're a national organization that's fighting for basically funding to get research where it should be with Alzheimer's. And then they started an offshoot group called Activists Against Alzheimer's, and they hand-selected basically 20 people from around the country, and I was one of them, to bring more awareness and more education about this disease. And so we are encouraging everybody to sign a petition. There's one online. If you go to the Us Against Alzheimer's website, you can sign the petition there electronically, or there is a hard copy of the petition at the Inspirations office with Paul Ortega, and you can sign it there. The more signatures, the better. It's basically a moral petition. Anybody can sign it. You don't have to be a registered voter. You can be a teenager or a child. Anybody can sign it.
Even though my mom doesn't seem to know who I am, I feel very strongly somewhere deep down inside she does know. And even if she doesn't, well, I know who she is, and I can't help but feel extremely blessed to be caring for her.
If you would like to sign that petition, you can go to 3250 South Highway 160. That's in Meadows Bank Plaza. To sign that at the Inspirations to encourage the government to spend more money on Alzheimer's. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. View this videos that the Wambakers have made. Just search their name on YouTube.
We continue with Tony Wambaker, whose family produced a YouTube video to help others with information regarding Alzheimer's disease.
Does early diagnosis help, or is it important? And how did you first get the signs?
Early diagnosis is huge for one reason, so that families can talk and they can discuss what is important for the future. You can't do anything to prevent the disease or slow it, but my mom and I, by the time we found out that she actually did have Alzheimer's, it was too late. We couldn't have that discussion about end-of-life wishes, whether she had a will or a trust. I would ask her those questions and she would say, I don't know. And I always got vague answers. She was already beyond the point of making decisions and knowing where things were at. So for families out there, if they're concerned about memory issues, they really need to start talking about what's going on, seeing a doctor, getting early diagnosis so that they can get a will in place, get a trust in place, and have those end-of-life decisions made so it's not on somebody else that doesn't really know. So,
What were some of the first signs?
my mom just was not herself. She was having trouble with things like banking, and she was a banker, so she was a teller and all the way into management all her life. And that was probably the biggest red flag, is when I noticed she was making banking errors, and she had been a banker all her life. That's not normal. Mm-hmm. And then little things earlier on were like, she would wear 6 necklaces and just dress odd and do things that she had never done all her life. And so when little things started happening, they were easy, really, really easy to make excuses for, or just brush off and say, oh, she's having an off day. But when little things like that are happening and you've known the person all your life, you need to really pay attention and not let yourself deny it and go into denial.
Do you think that there was a comfort in denying that there was issues going on?
Oh yeah, very much so. And she was only 63 too. So I think a lot of people think Alzheimer's is for old people, or it's, or it's something that every old person experiences. Every old person experiences memory loss. That's not true. That's a complete myth. Both of my grandmothers are 91 and 92, and they're both, they call me. My grandma that's 92 just used the phone and called me the other day. My mom hasn't been able to dial a phone for 4 years. So simple things that you've known all your life, tying your shoes, dialing the phone, driving a car, cooking, all those little things, you start making errors. Mom would make soup about 4 or 5 years ago and leave like a key ingredient out, the chicken for chicken noodle soup or something. And those things that's not normal, and it's not a normal part of aging. But when we were first concerned about her, she was only 63. And so the first doctor we took her to diagnosed her with depression. And I should have, now looking back, I should have spoke up and said, no, this isn't depression. It's not my mom. And
when we come back from this break, we'll have more on our continuation with Alzheimer's disease, including talking to healthcare partners, Dr. Andraki. We'll be right back.